What's up, everybody? I think we can all agree the Lions did a good job in this year's NFL draft. And I think that it's also important to remember that other teams draft too. And I think sometimes we get caught in this bubble, this Detroit Lions bubble, where we say the Lions did great. Therefore, we are going to make big strides in the division. But in order to do that, I think we need to take a look at what the other teams did too. So let's compare the Detroit Lions draft to other teams of the NFC North. Yes, it's those hated Bears, Packers, and Vikings. Let's talk about it a little bit. Let's see what that looks like and do a little comparison. So first thing I'm going to do for all of you guys right now is I'm going to share this to you. And oh, look at that. Looking good, right? Hutchinson just sitting up there looking good. It tells you like, hey, maybe they did win this. The Lions won it. I know they got the best pick. So anyways, with that being said, let's look at first the Chicago Bears. As you can see, I'm not going to go deep into the 5th, 6th, 7th round, even the 4th round. I want to look at the first 3 rounds because that's where you get most of your immediate impact for the first year. So the Chicago Bears get cornerback Kyler Gordon, safety Jaquan Brisker. That's someone that a lot of people looked at for the Lions, maybe in that 34 range when we originally had that pick. And then wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. out of Tennessee. I think that's kind of the Velus Jones Jr. is the first one that sticks out to me. He's kind of in that Cordero Patterson role that they've had in the past there in Chicago. He's kind of one of those guys, but he kind of surprised me with his speed at the combine. He did well, but they also pick up 2 starters on the defensive side of the ball. The glaring weaknesses in the Chicago Bears draft are a couple of things. One, no first round pick. I believe that's from the Khalil Mack trade and all that kind of stuff. It could be from something different. Who knows? I'm not a Bears fan. All right. And then also just a ton of picks in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. 1 or 2 of those are probably going to pan out, but I still would say they got 2 starters and a 3rd guy that might be a slot receiver or something like that. So that's not great. That's a good start for us. Then you can see our draft. We've talked about this plenty, but what we see for us is we should have 3 day 1 starters at least out of this when you're looking at Aiden Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, depending on recovery from that ACL surgery, and Kirby Smart. A lot of people are pegging. I think what a lot of people are giving good props for is moving up and getting a playmaker. One thing that I think we did better than any other team, and when you look at what happened with the Bears, and other teams, we got guys that have the ability to be elite football players. I mean, playmakers, stars, superstars, whatever you want to say, Pro Bowl caliber players. Sure, other guys from this draft class will do that, but we really did a good job of that. Now let's look at the Green Bay Packers. This was interesting. So they had the 2 first-round picks, and they did a great job of helping Aaron Rodgers go defense. Now, people are destroying the Packers nationally for this draft. I don't agree. I don't think it's a horrible draft. I think when you go get 2 guys from Georgia and Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt, they're good players. They're going to make you stout up the middle. They're going to replenish because they can't re-sign all of those people on defense. And then you trade up and you get Christian Watson. Now, here's what's very interesting to me, and you're going to see me make this point when I show the Vikings as well. Christian Watson is someone that most people were mocking to the Detroit Lions at 34. Remember, at one time, we held that pick. We held that pick at 34. And now Green Bay trades up. It's like the Vikings just wanted to trade with everybody inside the division, and they get him. So I will forever be comparing Christian Watson to Jameson Williams. That's going to be our thing, but Jameson Williams has to be considerably better because we traded up to get him. They probably get, I don't think Sean Ryan's going to be a day 1 starter, but they get some depth on the line, and I think they did pretty good. They drafted good players, but there is still a glaring need at wide receiver. It's absolutely glaring. And by the way, Chicago has the same exact problem. The Minnesota Vikings are interesting to me in this draft. They had 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. They did a good job. They probably went out and got 3, if not 4, ready-made starters. Lewis Cine, again, a guy that most of us picked to go 32, to Detroit. Now, this is so interesting to me how many people we mocked at Detroit going in the same position to teams in the division. So you have Lewis Cine at 32, Andrew Booth, corner out of Clemson at 42. Ed Ingram, he's going to probably start day one for them. Offensive guard out of LSU. And then Brian Asamoah, who a lot of people liked for us, at 66. So you have three players, Lewis Cine, Christian Watson, and Brian Asamoah, that a lot of people had mocked to the Lions that are going to be playing with other teams. So time will tell how we stack up. But here's the way I look at it. The other teams, namely the Minnesota Vikings, have a couple of elite talent players. They have Delvin Cook, they have Jefferson, they have things like this. They have wide receivers that are there. The Packers have Aaron Rodgers. They have Jair Alexander. Like, they have playmakers already on their team. So I give them a leg up. So I think their drafts are actually pretty good because they're filling in other positions. The Detroit Lions didn't have elite playmakers, so they drafted to get them in the early rounds. That's why they did their trade up. That's why theirs was so good. And then the Chicago Bears, I don't believe they have elite playmakers. You can argue Justin Fields might be one on the rise, but I would argue that they no longer have elite playmakers, and they didn't get any in this draft either. Part of that is simply because they didn't have the picks to do it. So when we compare all of these, I would rank it as such. I would rank the Detroit Lions as first, and I know it's, over here, it's Sports Talk Detroit. I understand that I'm going to put them first, and then I'm going to do the Vikings, followed by the Packers, and then the Bears. And here's why, before you tune out. I don't think maybe start to bottom. We didn't have as many picks as some of the other teams, but also I don't know if start to bottom we were the best. The reason I like especially the first three rounds for immediate impact next year is because we got two potential superstars. Other teams got starters. They got starter quality people that have a lower ceiling, but the Lions were able to go out and get the stars needed in order to compete. Now, of course, all of this is just speculation at this point. We don't know for a fact. We just know what we have. And what we have is a guy that consistently produced in Aiden Hutchinson and a guy that has absolute blazing speed at the wide receiver and probably was the best wide receiver in this class. We got that. I'm intrigued to see what Christian Watson does for the Packers. I'm intrigued to see what Lewis Cine and Brian Asamoah do for the Minnesota Vikings, because these are guys that we could have easily taken. I'm also, if I'm being completely honest, I'm really intrigued to see what Kirby Joseph does for us. We picked him at 97. If he ends up having a career similar to Dax Hill or Lewis Cine, then all of a sudden that makes us look really, really smart with that late third round pick, saying, no, we don't have to get them now. We can go there. I'm also very intrigued to see what Josh Pascal's role is going to be, if you're going to see him in a lot of those alignments where you have four pass rushers. So we have good things. There's still some glaring needs. We have some struggles in the secondary. And the linebacker position, we didn't address that. Chicago Bears have a glaring need at wide receiver. The Minnesota Vikings kind of addressed one of their glaring needs, which was at corner. And the Packers still have a need in wide receiver. No team is perfect, but my overall takeaway from this is that the Detroit Lions closed the gap. We closed the gap from how far we were behind before to where we're at now. I'm not saying that we're ready to compete for the division this year. I'm not that slappy with it. What I will say is that we added elite talent, and I'm excited to see if that talent plays out on the field. I'm also excited to see what another year under these guys look like. So I do think we had the best draft, but as I compare, it's closer than I thought. And I would say that the Minnesota Vikings, for all the weird crap that they did on draft day, trading with us, trading with the Packers, trading with like all these in-division trades, I think they actually had a pretty darn good draft that can compare with ours. So we'll see what happens. They just did it on the less attractive side of the ball, which is the defense. So let's see what happens. Let me know what your thoughts are. Am I way off? What would your order be for these 4 teams? And remember, I went Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears. Does anybody not have their Bears in the bottom? Because they just didn't have a lot of picks. It wasn't a good draft. So let me know what you think. Am I wrong in this? Flip that around. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if I'm right too. I always like the encouragement as well. So, hey, thanks for watching, you guys. Hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already. It's been fun talking draft. It's so nice that the draft is here, that it's been done, and now we can actually talk with real names and real players. It's not just make-believe. Hope you're enjoying it with us, and we'll see you on the next one.